Hi, it's Mike Morse. Welcome to another edition of Open Mic. We're back in the studio. I have a football in my hands because it is supposed to be college football season, and I'm excited to kick it off with Devin Gardner, who you've probably heard of if you've watched any type of college sports in the last 15 years. He was a standout athlete, not only here in Detroit at Inkster High School, and then he went on to play starting quarterback at the University of Michigan for a few years, and then on to the big leagues. So
you never know who you're going to see.
I beat one guy one-on-one my whole career. It's timing. It's for the clinching goal to bring the trophy back.
What you're going to hear.
You got a lot of desperate people in the city. They're desperate because they don't have opportunity.
Or what they've got to say.
When you can take people inside of a crime, show them things they wouldn't normally see.
The truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. That's what you're going to hear on my podcast, Open Mic. Find it where you find your podcasts.
Very excited to have Devin Gardner in the studio. Welcome.
Oh, thanks for having me. Excited to be here. Excited to dive in to some different things. Huh?
Well, listen, I got to be honest with you, Devin. I love football. It's my favorite sport.
As do I.
Yes, I know. But I'm not an expert at it by any stretch. I actually had to reach out to a couple buddies who are diehard Michigan fans. And they had to give me some of the questions, and they had to give me some insight into what went on during those few years because, Michigan fans are a little crazy.
Yeah,
they know every detail about everything.
They know more about me than I know about me.
It's, I knew, let's start for the people who don't know who you are. I mean, you grew up right here in the city, went to Inkster High School. Mm-hmm. You went to U of D Jesuit. I'm a U of D Jesuit law school.
U of D first,
and then you transferred.
Yeah, transferred.
So you could start.
Yeah. So I started as a freshman at U of D, and then I played my sophomore year. But in the beginning of my sophomore year, I had to sit out the first 5 games. So I got in some trouble. Just not being a great student. You know what I mean? I had like a 1.3 GPA when I left U of D as a sophomore. So imagine that uphill battle.
One of the questions that one of my buddies asked is, what was the trouble?
Yeah, so I had a 1.3 GPA, right? So
were you going out doing drugs? And
no. That's not the kind like that. Speaking out in class, so they had these things called justice under God, right? They're called jugs, and those are detentions.
Okay,
right. And so you get a detention out, having the wrong socks on, being late to class, right? Speaking out in class, just things. And I was just being a kid, a young, hotshot kid doing kind of what he wants. No real trouble. But trouble as far as the Jesuits are concerned, for sure.
So that's one reason you transferred.
Yeah. So and then academically, I wasn't performing well, just because not really dialed in, right? When you're 14 years old and everybody's patting you on the back, right? Especially during football season, and then when football season ends, they kind of forget, and you're not getting a ton of help, and you watch the movies when you're growing up, and it's like, oh, I'm the quarterback. Why would I have to do much of anything? But that's just not how it works, right? And I found out way too late, and there's no coming back. When you get that far down at U of D, there's no coming back. And it was great for me just because I got a chance to go to Inkster, where Coach Greg Carter was, where he was actually at St. Martin de Porres when I was in 6th, 7th grade, and they closed before I got to high school. So that's where I would have went, right? And so I get a chance to go play for the coach that I initially wanted to play for. And he made it clear that all the stuff that talking out in class, just not being a great kid, right? I was a great football player. I was doing well in football, but Coach Carter's whole thing was to make sure that I'm a great student, right? A great person and a great athlete, right? And I kind of used those 3 things to drive each other. And leaving U of D first semester after the football season with a 1.3, I ended up graduating with a 3.8. At the end of the year, right? So that's a lot of, and I graduated early.
So what was it about his message to you that turned you around?
Well, so it kind of started at U of D, right? And so a quick story, got good film, right? I'm playing at U of D, and coaches come in, and it's not even like the top guys, right? It's not like, the Michigans and Ohio. No, those guys weren't coming in. It was just lower level schools, right? Still schools that can give you scholarships and things like that. They would come in U of D, right? Because I'm so young, right? And they watch the film. Oh my gosh, this guy's, he's amazing, right? Bring him in. I want to talk to him, right? And so we get to talking, and the one thing they always go to, especially when you're young, all right, let me see his transcript, right? And so after looking at my transcript, right, automatically dismissed, and I don't even remember what school it was or what coach it was. They told me you'll never get a chance to play at the next level. Like there's no shot just because of 1.3, like to most people, that you can't come back from that, right? But I was very strategic and very diligent in taking all the summer class, retaking every class I needed to take and getting A's. Right now, I don't think I got another B in high school, right? And it was very difficult, but I knew what I wanted, right? And I knew that without academics and being a great person, there's no possible way I could ever reach the level I wanted to there, or definitely not reach the level I am now.
Okay. So that's pretty cool. So,
people don't know. At UND, you get in trouble for anything. Like I didn't have a blazer, and they would give me jugs repeatedly because I didn't wear my blazer. But I didn't own one. I couldn't,
How did you get to U of D in the first place?
So
was it a football thing?
Yeah, it was a football thing, a friend thing. So I had a friend named Ernest Thomas and Deion Sims, who played at Michigan State, played at Orchard Lake. Everybody knows Deion Sims.
Sure.
He was a year older than us, and he was at UND. And there was another kid named Troy Tidd. Well, a bunch of kids, right? We're supposed to be a really talented team. So Ernest and I were best friends. Like, hey, either we're going to go to Renaissance, Orchard Lake, or UAD. Right? It's like Deion's there. We play basketball with him, all these different things. We'll all go to UAD. Before my freshman year was over, they all transferred to Orchard Lake.
Oh, no
so
kidding.
I was the only kid at UAD, and it's just like, oh, man.
Now, was this that's an expensive school.
Yeah. So they have scholarships and all that type of stuff.
You got a full ride?
My mom's probably still paying it off.
Your mom is?
Yeah.
Oh,
so,
yeah.
But I don't think she is. But, it was they gave us scholarships or whatever, but you still had to pay some, which was pretty tough for us. We're on the east side, right? Don't have a bunch of money. And so I felt terrible just because, and I learned this growing up, right? And the more I get to work with younger kids and seeing the sacrifice their parents make, I didn't understand at that age the sacrifices that were being made for me to get a good education and do all these different things. And I was selfish. I was a butthole. I think essentially that's what I would call one of the kids right now. Like, you must don't love your parent, right? If they're coming out here, they're paying money, they're sitting out in the sun, they're doing all these things for you, and you can't pay attention to detail and do the things that you need to do to be successful while they're putting you in position. That's not love, right? And so I apologize to my mom, obviously, and she's happy now. I got a degree and all these different things, and everybody's like singing my praises from time to time. So I think I kind of made it up to her. But in those younger years, I wasn't doing a very good job of showing my gratitude and appreciation for, my mom, who has 5 children other than me, 4 other children other than me, working so hard and trying to put me in a good position.
It's amazing. And then you went on to Inkster. You had amazing success. The one thing that stands out to me is the dual threat quarterback. You were the number 1 dual threat quarterback in the United States. Your senior year.
And so if we say United States, I like to say, might as well say the world, right? Because the United States is the best football.
True. Sorry, I'll say that again. We can edit that out.
In the world.
In the world. You were the number 1 dual threat quarterback in the world.
In the world.
So, what kind of pressure was that? As a senior, you're 17, 18 years old. Yeah.
So it wasn't a ton of. So the one mistake I think I made in those years was, right, I changed my mentality as a person, right? I changed my mentality as a student, right? Competed in the classroom the way I competed on the field, which I'm a fierce competitor on the field, and so I took that in the classroom, and it was pretty easy for me. The one thing I wish I'd done is brought more people along, right? I was kind of a loner, right? Where my senior year, Coach Carter never even knew about this. I would go in, the janitors would let me in, and I would go in and I would work 6 a.m. every single day, right? For off season, into the season, every single day, 6 o'clock in the morning, going in, throwing, not being as strategic I probably wanted to, because there's no quarterback coaches and there's no me back then. But going in, working so hard, but I'm in there by myself, right? And so my senior year, right, we're like a top 10 team in the country, number 1 in the state and all this stuff. And so we go out and we start off 0-2. The number 1 quarterback in the country starts off 0-2, and that's when the pressure starts, right? So before then, I kind of explain this to a lot of young kids I work with. There's no pressure if you're prepared, right? If you're prepared to succeed and you leave no stone unturned in your preparation, there's no reason to be worried, and there's no pressure, right? Now, you're going to have some anxiety that you have to deal with, but for the most part, you're not worried about the results because you've put all the work in. But
when you said you wanted to bring more people along with you, why did you lose those first 2 games? Was it because you weren't in sync with the other players?
So I was working as hard as I could, but everybody else wasn't.
Was that what you meant by you didn't bring them with you?
I didn't make sure they were doing. Yeah, make sure
practice?
You're doing the same work that I'm doing, so that we are on the same level. And so our first game, this is the craziest start to top 10 national, we're number one quarterback in the country season, I would imagine, ever. The first game we play Ann Arbor Pioneer, not a powerhouse, right? Decent team, right? And it's at Eastern Michigan. Everybody's there. The whole Michigan football team comes, right? Because I'm committed, and they're right down the street. They come to Ypsilanti, they watch the game, and so I score a touchdown with about 40 seconds left. If they get the ball, they drive down and score and beat us.
Oh,
right. So that's heartbreaking. I'm devastated at this point. Like, man, I gave everything I had. Right. I'm talking about left it all on the field, and then we still lose the game. And then we move forward to the next week. Play East Kentwood, who had won the state in track, and all their track athletes play football. Right. So speedy team. Right. But not, once again, not a powerhouse, not a football powerhouse. First play of the game, 75 yards to the house for me. Right. Up the left sideline. And I'm thinking like, wow, we're back, right? I probably had one of my best games in high school. I think I threw for 400 yards, five touchdowns, and we got blown out.
Wow.
Somehow.
What team did you beat you on that one?
East Kentwood. It's up in Grand Rapids area.
Okay.
Right. And so now you start off 0-2, and in Michigan, it's kind of tough to make the playoffs if you lose 3 games, right? And so at this point, and we already didn't have enough games, because I didn't mention this, we played all road games because the year before we dominated our league. They disbanded the league and created a league outside of us. So everybody in the league made a league and then left us out of it.
Wait, that's not nice.
Yeah, it's very unkind. It's weird that the MHSAA would allow teams to do that. But when you come in with the kind of hype we had, every team that we played, we needed them, right? And so they're like, we're not coming to play you at your house, right? You're coming to our house, right? And so we played all these teams away. So then from that 0-2 start, we move on to St. Edward's in Ohio, right, which is a power always. Steubenville, who had like a 60-something game winning streak at home, hadn't lost, right, to anybody. I think it was the longest winning streak in the country. And St. Ignatius in Ohio, which is also huge powerhouse. They have jumbotrons at their stadiums, all kind of crazy stuff like this. And so from 0-2, right, you kind of looking like we may not make the playoffs as a number one quarterback in the country. And so that's when I think the pressure started, because now, even though I was prepared, I don't feel like I helped my team get prepared as much as, I think, we should have been. And so now it's a little more pressure, right? And you got to kind of turn it up and kind of do things that you wouldn't ordinarily do in practice, because you got to make up for lost time where you didn't get a chance to work as much with the teams that you need to.
And did you win those next? You won all the rest of the games?
We played a former state championship team in Michigan. I think it was Muskegon Catholic Central. We beat them. We beat St. Edwards. We broke the winning streak on our last game, the last game of the season. We have to win this game to get in the playoffs. We broke the winning streak of Steubenville. And I think they rioted. Like it was a huge deal. Like it was on the radio. Like everybody everywhere was just like, I can't believe, correct? They got some home cooking there, right? There's you don't get a long winning streak like that without a little home cooking. And we beat them in the last 30 seconds of the game, threw a game-winning touchdown, 75 yards.
Wow. You threw it.
That's the game.
So, and you went to the state finals that year.
Yeah. So, and then once we get in the playoffs, we play all these Michigan teams. It just happened to be the teams that used to be in our league. And so we're putting 50 on everybody. Boom, 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 knocking them out. And then we get into the state playoffs, and then, state championship. And we lose in the state championship. But, it didn't start off as you would imagine. It should start off with the number one quarterback in the country and all these different things.
So then I read about you, Devin, that you're recruited heavy for college.
Yeah.
I mean, you had offers from every major university. I won't even go through the list. You chose Michigan. Is there, one of my friends was curious about the, he remembers back in the day stories of inappropriate recruiting for guys like you and others.
Yeah.
Is there anything there?
Not for me, just because the way I had changed my mentality. Now, freshman, sophomore version of myself, getting recruited the way I did, it'll be some of those stories, right? Arrogant, young kid. But moving forward, junior, senior year, like I committed super early because I didn't want to be the kid who did the whole hat switcheroo, or I want this, or you got to guarantee me this. I kind of switched my entire mentality and was a lot more selfless, right? And so it's like, hey, I want to go to Michigan. There's no need to mess around and play. Now, other schools were in it, right? Especially late. Florida came on late where, I actually took a look, but I decided I wanted to go to Michigan fairly early and didn't want to mess around with it.
But are there instances where people would offer you inappropriate things to come to their school, things that they could get in trouble for?
So for me, no, I didn't even take visits. Right, so you get 5 visits to all these different schools, and that's when that stuff happens, right?
Okay.
And so I just decided I'm going to take one visit to Michigan because I like I
You
said,
knew. You knew.
I know where I want to go. I don't want to play that game and go and get enticed about something that I'm not even into, right? And get into something. So I never even took the visits, which. Looking back, I wish I would have probably took some of the visits at least.
Could have been fun,
yeah.
Right?
I mean, because growing up in Detroit, you're not getting on an airplane a ton, right? A free trip for your family. I mean,
is it too late?
I think it's a little too late. I just think it's a little too late.
So, paid college athletes.
Yeah.
What is your take on the new plan? And are you against it? Are you for it? Do you think that the college athletes deserve some monetary compensation? What's your take?
I mean, any sane person will look at it and say, there's no possible way that you can have a multi-billion-dollar industry and not pay the workers, right? The people that are actually risking their lives, right? Football, one of the most. It's been well documented how dangerous it is,
Sure.
and for the people who are in the arena to not only not get paid, right, but for you to profit off of jerseys and video games and all these different things, and for the college athlete to not get a penny, right, to get nothing, and to go even further to say if someone were to get you a hamburger, you'll have to sit out the first 4 games of the season. Think about that.
That's kind of
I'm
crazy.
helping this university make all types of money in the NCAA as a whole, billions of dollars. And if I get a hamburger and somebody catches me, I cannot play the first 4 games, and I'm in jeopardy of losing the entire season. That's just.
Okay. So I get your take on it.
Unfair.
You're all for it.
All for it.
You're all for it.
And so I feel like it's a slippery slope, right? Well, how much you play this kid and agents and all these different things. And I think the bare minimum, right? The bare minimum to keep it as amateur. Each player, right, has their own likeness, right? I wore number 7 in college. I wore number 12 and I wore number 98. Every single time I had a new number, that number was in the stores, right? Now I'm going by, I can't even afford the jersey, right? It's like $120.
They didn't give you a jersey?
You get the ones you wear on game day, but if you try to take that one, you're going to be in trouble, right? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so you see all this, and it's just like, come on, man. Like, that's my jersey, but your name's not on the back. Your name's not on the back. But I wear number 7 coming in as a freshman. Number 7's in the stores. I changed the number 12. 7's out. 12 is in.
So I know your numbers have meaning. Why'd you switch from 7 to 12?
So it's pretty childish. It's pretty petty. It's a pretty petty story.
Let's hear it.
So my favorite quarterback is Michael Vick, right? All time. Growing up, I wore number 7 from the time I started off as a running back my very first year. And then after that, I started playing quarterback. And from then on, I played quarterback. I was number 7. But I wore number 12 1 year in between. I think I was 8 years old on a 9 and 10-year-old team. Okay. And so I couldn't get number 7. You're 8-year-old.
It was already gone.
You're not getting it.
That's not no kid ticket. Right. Okay.
Right. So I wore number 12 that year. But number 7 my entire life, all the way through high school. At UAD, they didn't have single digits, so I wore 17, So first year, come in, number 1 quarterback in the country, right? Working hard, doing everything I can. I don't play. Right, but I'm competing. Right, I'm competing.
You're behind Denard Robinson, who's another amazing quarterback.
Right, getting a chance to spot duty and things like that, but not really living up to the Michael Vick number. You know what I mean? Next year, Coach Rod leaves. They bring in a pro style offense. I'm thinking this is my shot, right? But I'm not thinking Denard won the silver football. There's no way you're playing. Right,
you're not thinking that. You thought you had a chance.
I'm thinking this is me. This is my time. I understand that this is a different offense, but Denard won the silver football. He will not be on the bench next year. You know what I mean? Yeah. I wasn't thinking, I'm just a young guy competing, giving everything I had. And Denard was actually my roommate, which did not help things. He was so nice, like helping me out and stuff, and then won't let me play. It's like, what are you doing, dude? Give me a shot. So, right. And so at that point, moving into the next year, I'm going to be a redshirt sophomore, junior year. I'm like, okay. I'm really disrespecting Michael Vick at this point. I got to take the 7 off. I'm not doing any justice. I'm sitting on the bench, and this is not good, right? And so I'm like, hey, I go to Coach Hoke. I'm like, hey, I'm going to wear 12 this year. I don't want. He's like, why? I'm like, no, I don't tell him. Like, I just want to wear number 12. I like Randall Cunningham. Randall Cunningham is one of my favorite quarterbacks. And I wore number 12 that one time when I was young. And I'm like, okay, I'll wear number 12, right? Because I don't love Randall Cunningham that much, where I think I'm disrespecting if I don't play. And then that's the year I blow up, I should have kept number 7. It's ridiculous.
Well,
I was childish.
so what about all the fans who buy the jersey because of the 7 because of you, and then they got to buy another jersey the next
we're just
year
making
for the
the
12.
NCAA all this money, man.
And you don't get even another jersey.
I don't get anything. Yeah.
So that was the year that he got hurt and you came in.
Yeah, 2012.
2012
was the year. So I go to the coaches early in the year and I say, hey, kind of tired of sitting on the bench. And Roy Roundtree had a surgery, not a drastic surgery, but a minor surgery on his knee. I'm like, hey, if you guys need me to, I can, contribute where I can, a receiver and do some things. And so a lot of people don't know that they think that they moved me to receiver, which was not the case. Right? I was performing very well at quarterback, but we have a quarterback, you know what I mean? And so I went in and being the competitor I am, I'm from Detroit, right? I've competed my entire life, never played receiver a day in my life. I said, hey, just give me a shot and I'll do what I can to help the team, right? Like, you're going to have to block. I'm like, I'm not saying I'm going to be a left tackle here, but I'm going to try, I'm going to do my best, right? Roy Roundtree, Jeremy Gallen took me under their wing, taught me every single thing that they knew that could help me. And I ended up playing fairly decent, I
played the whole first half of the season as wide receiver.
Yeah, I was the leader in catches, yards, and I think in touchdowns.
So what game did Denard get hurt in?
So Denard gets hurt in the Nebraska game
with an elbow injury.
Yeah, elbow. It was elbow ligaments, and it was a lot of stuff going on that. I still don't even know the whole story. We've talked about it, but he doesn't even really.
Are you still buddies with him?
Oh yeah, without question.
So tell me this: you're at the game, you're playing wide receiver.
Mm-hmm.
He's quarterback. He hurts his elbow. You see him go down. You see him get hurt. What's the first thing that goes through your head?
So the first thing that goes through my head is, okay, I got my shot. Because when I went in initially to play receiver, I'm getting my shot. Right, I'm getting my
selfishly,
shot. Yeah,
absolutely. Look at here. Listen, I've never played any type of sport like you have, but with the accolades that you had coming out of high school, you're working your ass off the first year and a half of college. You want to play, but you're playing under one of the greatest quarterbacks,
players to ever play at Michigan.
Right. You may, if he stays healthy, you may never get a snap.
Never. Not until I'm a senior.
But how? Let's just break this down. Up until his elbow injury. What's going on in your head? You might. If you don't play in college, what are the chances of you getting a shot at pros?
Yeah. So I think my biggest development was while I was on that bench watching Denard play, because he was the greatest teammate I'd ever had. Right. Helping me in every way possible. Not and that's off the field, but on the field, we're competing, fiercely competing, almost getting into fights at practice a lot of the time.
So you're
after practice, still competing and stuff like that. And then we go home with each other and we're good. He's helping me, trying to make sure I'm as ready and prepared as I can be, and I'm helping him. And so that was the shift in my mentality as a person, even more, right? Even more so from the high school transformation, where, right, I'm doing what's best for other people and putting myself aside to help other people while still competing fiercely, right? You can be a fierce competitor, right? You can be a great lawyer and help other lawyers succeed, right?
Absolutely.
You don't have, and I think that's a lot of why this country is kind of where we are, right? A lot of people just stepping on people to get to where they need to go instead of helping people along, but continue to work on their game as well to succeed.
Right, but selfishly, you want to play.
Absolutely.
He hurts his elbow. You're like, this is my shot. Did you play that game?
No, so he hurts his elbow, and I'm like, geez, I hope he's all right, But I hope I get my shot.
Yeah,
right.
You're not wishing
both.
Injury on him.
Absolutely not. And Denard knows that. Denard knows that. The funny story. First time when I first get there, we're in a meeting. Coach Rodriguez, right, was the head coach. He comes in, and they're doing a depth chart because we had competed all through camp, and I'm thinking I got a shot, right? Because Denard hasn't performed on the field yet. He played a little bit as a freshman, but not a whole lot. I beaten out Tate, and he's also beaten out Tate. So it's me and him, right? Tate Forcier, who was a starter before I got there. Coach Rod comes in, he says, all right, guys. You got that accent. All right, guys. Denard, you're going to start the game. If Denard can't handle it, Denard not doing it, Devin, you're in there. And Tate, you'll be third. And he walks out. And I'm like, I can live with that, right? He's been in college for a year, and for me to get an opportunity if he's not playing well, I think that's right. I think I can take advantage of it and all these things. He leaves, and Coach Rod Smith is quarterback coach. He says, all right, now, Denard, don't get Wally pipped. Right? I'm like, Wally Pipp was Wally Pipp. Right, so Wally Pipp was a baseball player. I forgot the story, Tyler, but the long story short, he was a baseball player on his way to Hall of Fame, amazing player, gets hurt, his backup comes in, right? and plays so amazingly that he never gets his job back. Right. And that guy becomes a Hall of, you know what I mean? So you should look it up.
So he kind of did get Wally pipped.
Yeah. He did. It was a little later than we anticipated, but yes, he did get
Wally pipped. So a year and a half later, he got Wally pipped by you.
Yeah, he did. But yeah, so that was a story. And so Denard knew, like, because I performed very well, especially for a freshman coming in, not knowing anything, still wet behind the ears. Right. I performed very well. And we were almost dead even, except, he had some more explosive plays because he's the fastest man alive, as I like to say. But moving forward to he gets hurt. Right. So Denard knows I've been waiting. I hope you don't get hurt. But I hope I get a chance to play. And if it has to, if you do, I will be there, and you will not get it back. You will not get it back. And so he gets hurt in Nebraska game. And so I know I'm not going to play that game, right? Because that's just, it seems ideal.
Who finished it, though?
Russell Bellamy. Russell Bellamy, who was Russell Bellamy.
Okay.
He threw like 2 interceptions in the game, didn't play very well.
Why didn't they put you in?
So, and this is, you can learn something here. Like, for those at home, pretty sure everybody's looking like, hey, put him in. So, while I'm playing receiver, I'm not taking the quarterback reps in practice, right? I know the game plan from a receiver standpoint, right? It's almost too much to know the game plan, the full, right? Because I'm a full-time receiver at this point. I'm not spot duty. I'm the starter, and I'm playing every single snap, right? It's hard to do that and learn all the reads and all the things in court because from week to week things change, right? The run reads, the everybody thinks quarterback is about passing, right? You have to know when to check plays in the run game and all these different things. And I'm in the receiver meeting. Right. It would have been, I think, arrogantly, I would have been able to come in and do a little better than Russell Bellamy. Right. But I knew for a fact that they wouldn't, and it could have done me a disservice as well. Right. Throwing me in the fire, not knowing what's going on. Right. And
the next 2 years could have been different.
Exactly. Right. So I don't go in the game. But one of my teammates, he's a cop now in Florida.
What's his name?
Hawthorne, Brandon Hawthorne. He's like the team bully, right? He's crazy. He's from Florida, Pahokee, Florida. Those guys are insane, right? Insane competitors. He's under the impression that I'm going in the game, right? So I'm on the sideline, right? And he looks at me. I can see him look at me, and I'm like, I gotta get out of his eyesight. He's gonna kill me. He's like, and I guess can't take it anymore. He's like, man, what are you doing? I'm like, whoa, what? What do you mean? What am I doing? Man, you better warm your rotator cuff up. Hawthorne, I'm not going in the game. What are you talking about? And so he's visibly upset with me that I won't just walk out there and play. But the defense is on the field, and he plays defense. Hawthorne, if that was an option, you'd be out there on the field. You can't just walk out on the, you know what I mean? And I just thought that was so funny that he was very, very, like, he was not happy.
Well, like, it's your choice. It's not your choice.
As if I could just hey, Russ, you're out. I'm in. No.
If it was your choice, you would have been there.
If it was my choice, I would have been there.
It sounds like it.
But I just thought that was so funny that he was very upset with me.
All right, so you played the next game?
Yeah. So the deal was I'm playing receiver, right? When I go in that
game.
spring. No, that spring.
Oh, the spring.
Right?
Yeah, right.
That spring, I come in and hey, I want to help the team, whatever. But if anything were to happen to Denard, I'm the quarterback, right? I've proven like there's no me and Russell Bellamy aren't even close, right? There's no reason for me to continue to obviously you want to compete, but I've earned my keep here, right? There's no reason for a trial process. If something were to happen to I'm the quarterback until I prove I can't do it. That was the deal, right? And everybody agreed to it. Nebraska game ends. Russell's just very, very bad, right? Which unfairly for him, he wasn't ready to play football yet. Right, he's young. I think he might have been a redshirt freshman, and I don't know if you've ever been in Nebraska. That's all they do is football, right? They got the black shirts going, and they love football. And when they get some fresh blood in the water, it's not going to be very pleasant. You know what I mean? And so he didn't play well. We come back to meetings, and they say, Devin, you're going to take all the reps with the twos, second string. And Russell's going to take all the rest with the ones. And at the end of the week, we'll decide who's the starter. Which I don't know if you know what that means. That means I'm not going to be the starter. How can you compete with the guy that's taking the 1 reps? Right?
Why would they make that decision? Were you doing so well as a receiver that they didn't want to pull you from that position? That doesn't make any sense.
I was doing well, but I was doing fine. Okay. I wasn't like, oh yeah, this is the best receiver you've ever seen, right? We still got Jeremy Gallen and Roy Roundtree, who are amazing receivers, and I'm taking reps from them because, whatever. And so they say that, and for me, I'm devastated, right? I go home and I am hurt, right? Because we had a plan. Obviously, you guys know I never wanted to play receiver, right? Never played in my life. But I worked hard to help the team, right? This is me being unselfish, right? And they always say you be unselfish and good things will happen, all these different things. And for them to come and essentially say you're not going to be a receiver and you're going to be the backup, right? I go home and so like when I decided to go. Because I don't know if you know the stigma of a black quarterback moving a receiver, right? Just don't do it, right? Because they'll never, right? Because you're a good athlete and they won't ever, let you go back, right? You're done as a quarterback.
I don't understand that.
Yeah, so as a black quarterback, if you go to receiver, you're done, right? Essentially, that's a death penalty. That's a thing. That's
just a known
it's
thing.
A less thing. It's less of a. It's still kind of a thing, less of a thing now. But if
But why is that? Why?
Good athlete, the whole
athlete,
right? And it goes way back to black players aren't smart enough to play the quarterback position and things like that. And so it's a death penalty, right? And so my brother, when I made the decision, right, made the decision all by myself to help the team, he's like, I don't think you should do that. And so I'm pissed off at him, right? I'm like,
so you think he's right at this point? You thought you made a mistake by helping the team.
Fast forward, they come in and say that. And so me and my brother were kind of at odds. My older brother, who's like kind of my dad, right, growing up, didn't have a father. He, stepped in as my older brother to do that. We're kind of at odds because I'm trying to help the team and make a decision, and I know in the back of my mind that it could end that way, but I'm thinking positively, right? There's no way they go back on their word, all these different things. And you come in the meeting and then it's like, man, he was right. He was right. Can't believe it.
So you take snaps from the twos.
No. That's not the end. That's not the end. The next day we come in, right? So that's the off day where we meet and we don't practice, right? So the next day we come in and they say, and so okay, when I go home, I'm devastated, or whatever, but I'm still working on me as a person, right? I'm still trying to, not control the things I can't control, right? And so after I'm all upset and all these different things, I'm venting and all this, I take a step back. I'm like, guy, you have an opportunity. You have to do with it what you can. Like there's nothing you can do, right? What are you gonna do? You're gonna go fight everybody? Like, what are you gonna do, right? You need to prove that you're the best player, and though the cards may be stacked against you, you need to do your best, right? And that's the way you need to live your life. And you can't preach it sometimes, and then when something else comes along, you don't do the same thing, right? And so I go in the next day and I'm fully motivated, enthusiasm, right, ready to take those 2 reps that I know are going to lead me down a path of second string quarterback on Saturday. Go in the meeting, say, Devin, you're going to take all the 1s and all the 2s reps. Look at me getting rewarded for, not, being a good guy or whatever. And so apparently Russell had gotten hurt in the game, and I don't ask questions. I don't care. I've been giving my dream back. I'm good to go. So I take all the 1s and 2s. I barely had an incompletion during the week. I was on fire, so excited to finally get my shot. We go into the next game against Minnesota at Minnesota, right?
So that's your first game.
First game as a starter at the University of Michigan. Been waiting on it all my life, right? The night before, we go to, so you know how cold Minnesota is, I would imagine.
It's cold, yep.
Very cold, and especially those November months. We go and we practice at Minnesota Stadium at night, the night before, just to get ready for the cold, right? And so I'm wired, I'm ready to go, and we're practicing, and the ball feels like a brick. I can't throw the ball. I said, oh my gosh, I'm going to prove them right that I should probably play it. And so we're going through routes. I haven't completed one pass. It's just
awful. Hard to throw.
It's just
the
so
ball
cold.
Is
I'm
just
freezing cold.
You can't grip it.
We didn't have like the hand warmers because we had just gotten off the bus to try to just go, get some throws, right? So, and I'm pretty sure the coaches are devastated. Like, oh my gosh, we're getting blown out, right? Denard that night, because he's there, he travels. Usually don't travel when you're injured, but when you're that stature guy, and I kind of needed him, I think, sends me a text like, hey man, we had practice today, whatever you do. You kind of like acting like this wasn't your team. I'm not playing anymore. This is your team, right? And so that assurance was amazing for me.
So up until that text from Denard Robinson, you thought
I was questioning myself for sure.
He was on your back. You thought.
Oh yeah, without question.
He was. They're looking for you to make a little mistake, and you're out of there, and he's coming back.
Yeah, absolutely.
And he said, "It's your team."
Yeah.
And you're like, "Okay, I got this."
Got it. Right. So we go into the game, and because of the night before, we started off just running the ball, running, right? So I get one pass attempt. It's a naked bootleg, right? So you fake left, roll right. So what I do, right? I get on the edge. I make plays with my legs and arm, and I throw it to one of our tight ends, who's a blocking tight end that for some reason was in the route, right? He's fading just a little bit. The defense comes underneath, intercepts it, right? And it's in our own
Your
area.
first pass was an interception?
I think it was I threw a hitch or something, like something small, and then that was my first big third down pass, I think. Intercepts it, and then they're in their own territory. I think they score. But when I go off the field, because Denard's been in that position, right? He's throwing interceptions this game. He's done all these things. Sure. So he's like, hey, listen, just relax. You'll be fine, right? Because I am pissed. I'm like, oh my God.
What's the coach say? Coach says anything or no?
You get on the headphones. It's like, what are you thinking, right? Because you can't see that he's like, you can't see this not entirely your fault. It's too fast. Everything's moving too fast.
But they were blaming you?
Not necessarily, but I know that they were. But it's like, hey, you need to make smarter decisions, things like that, right? So yeah, the bad decision was thrown to the blocking tight end that was in the route. Why'd you guys have him in the route? Is the question. But obviously, I didn't say that. I'm just like, all right. And so Denard, he's like, I'm on the headphones, and he's like, because he can hear. He's like, don't worry about it.
So he's wearing headphones too.
Yeah, so he can hear that.
He's
Don't worry about it.
Don't
worry about that. Don't worry about that. And so we go on the next drive. I don't know when it was at some point, but 1 3rd down. Drop back. I hitch up to throw the ball to Jeremy Gallen, who's my top guy. He's my guy. I've been working with him every single day since I got to University of Michigan almost. Pump fake. Somebody covers him. I run to the right, stick my foot in the ground, run way across the other side of the field, flip my hips and throw it 65 yards down the field for a touchdown.
Wow.
And then at that point, I'm like,
That's
I am
exciting.
here and I'm good to go.
How did that feel?
Oh my,
The best feeling ever to this minute?
I've been waiting for it, working for it since I was 5 years old. I've been waiting for an opportunity like this and for something like this to happen. And for me to run left, run right, this is Michael Vick. Where's my number 7 jersey? Somebody get my number 7 back. Right, Randall Cunningham did some cool things like that too. But
So you were wearing 12 at that time?
yeah, wearing 12, right?
Do you have the ball from that?
I do not have the ball. I was so excited. So it's like not even late in the game, right? So I'm so excited. I'm like, I'm about to destroy these guys, right? And so from there, I'm running around, I'm wheeling and dealing, and I'm just playing the way I'd always been able to play because there's no pressure to perform now because I've done one of the most spectacular plays that anybody in this stadium's ever seen.
Did you win the game?
Absolutely. We destroyed them from that point.
So, wow. That's exciting.
Yeah.
I'm excited just hearing it how many years later.
Yeah.
That's why I love football. So before I forget, what year did you switch to number 98?
So I switched to number 98 that next year. Yeah.
So why?
So Michigan was doing, and it's one of the greatest honors that you could ever receive in Michigan, and I'm going to explain why. Michigan was doing the bringing the jerseys out of retirement jerseys as legends jerseys, right? Bringing them out of retirement, letting guys who exemplify some of the same characteristics the people that wore them exemplified, right? And so all of them had been out, and nobody wore number 98 since Tom Harmon wore it, 100 years almost. And
who's Tom Harmon for those of us
Tom
who don't
Harmon,
know?
first Heisman Trophy winner at the University of Michigan, fought in a war. His fighter jet crashed, and he walked away from it, right? Everybody, died. So that's the type of guy he is, right? Tough guy, right? Wants to fight for his country. Obviously a talented football player, right? I think he was the only player at Ohio State Stadium to get a standing ovation by Ohio State's fans. He played that well in the game, right? And everybody knows what the game is and what it means to college football as a whole, but Michigan and Ohio State, he gets a standing ovation from their fans, right? That's the type of player, type of guy, type of person he is. And his family, who's Mark Harmon, who a lot of people may know from NCIS, who actually played quarterback at UCLA a little bit, that family thought that it would be that I embodied some of those things.
Well, that was their idea.
They asked that if I would wear it. And so
they asked you or they asked the university to ask you?
They asked the university to ask me, right? So I didn't meet them until the night I wore it. Okay. But they asked the university to ask me. I said, let me think about it. And you know who the first person I called? Denard. What do you think? What do you think about this, Denard? He like, absolutely wear it, right? Nobody ever forget that, right? If you want to make it, nobody will ever forget 98, right?
And nobody else can ever get that jersey again.
Nobody will ever get it again, right? So, it's retired for Tom Harmon, but hey, I was in there too a little bit.
So that's what an honor.
Set some records in there.
So that was a quick yes after you talked to Denard.
Yeah.
And then now everybody's buying your jersey again with the number 98. So you have
question.
3. But that's
Absolutely.
that's the number. I mean, when you went to the pro teams, did you wear 98?
So when I played overseas professionally, I wore number 98. But when I was with the Steelers, they would call me 98, but I wore number 15.
Okay.
Yeah, you can't wear number 98.
Okay.
If I would have gotten good enough, I would have been able to wear it in practice though, and that would have been good. But didn't quite get that far.
So I feel like I got a million questions, and I don't want to run out of time with you. I mean, you left. You had an amazing career at U of M. You left with. Did you leave with a social worker degree? Or did you go back and get that?
I didn't finish it in graduate school. I didn't finish it.
But
yeah.
Are you a social? I mean, do you have training in that? Or
I have great training in it. Right. I had a few more hours left with my internship and things like that. But going to the draft and doing all these different things, and I don't have a great interest in going back to school, right? But what I'm doing now is exactly what I've always wanted to do. So
perfect segue into Young Go-Getters.
Absolutely.
So Young Go-Getters, tell me what it is.
Young Go-Getters is a program that I started.
When did you start this?
2.5 a year and a half, maybe 2 years.
Okay. What is it?
Ago, a program that started, helping quarterbacks develop. I start off with 4 kids, 4 underappreciated, I would say, underdeveloped kids who, people you didn't think they were very good. And I'm still playing at this time when I'm kind of starting to work with these kids. And so
you're still playing overseas?
Yeah, I'm still playing overseas. And so the one quote everybody uses is if you do what you love, or you'll never work a day in your life, and things like that, right? So I'm playing overseas, but when I come back, I'm working with them, right? Helping them develop, helping them as young men, and kind of showing them ropes, right? Giving them, opportunities to not make mistakes that I made, helping them also as quarterbacks. So I go and I play in Canada, and then when the season ends, right, and I come back home, I'm with them, and I'm doing this every single day, right? Every single day. But this is with no job, right? No money coming in. I have some money saved up, but no money coming in. Everything going out, right? Got to part bills. I'm a grown up at this point, right? But I'm every single day just doing it every day. Hot sun, outside all day. We're 3 or 4 hours a day, every single day because they're out of school. And one of the kids that I worked with, I'd known him since he was born, since before he was born. His grandfather was my first coach, right? And so we go to the same church, and I've known him forever. And so his dad, I know his dad, and his dad coached me as well. He pulled me aside one day, and I'm almost a year doing this, just at least 7-8 months, just doing this. And he's like, hey, because kids pop in, pop out, right? I have these 4 kids, but other kids pop in, pop out, work out, whatever, no charge or anything like that. It's like, hey, I understand you love. You're enjoying this. You love doing it, and I can feel your passion. I can feel your love doing it. But at some point, you got to do something, right? You can't just continue to, like I'm taking them out to eat. I'm being the big brother. I don't have a little brother, right? I'm kind of being the big brother that that they needed and look for. Fast forward, one of the kids was the youngest player to ever get offered a scholarship by the University of Michigan in the 7th grade. The other kid, who a lot of people said he wasn't good enough and he's the reason their team won't ever be successful, won Player of the Year, Gatorade Player of the Year, Mr. Football in Michigan, and won the state championship. And this is all in the same year after we worked, for so long.
Wow. And
then we had a sophomore that was at Morehouse who was all conference as a true sophomore. And then our last kid, who was the least likely kid to get a scholarship, too small, too slow, Alon Mitchell, earns a scholarship, and he just graduated. He's at Army University right now, and earned a full scholarship, and his parents won't have to pay for college. And that was like the biggest success I think of. And we had some really good successes with the kids, but that was one of the biggest successes I could, because he's my family essentially, right? You know him since before he's born. His granddad was my coach, and so. That was a huge goal for me, right? To make sure that his family doesn't have to pay for college, right? And he got a chance to do that. And
so you're 4 for 4.
I was 4 for 4 for sure.
But what is so like the man said to you? How do you turn this into a job? What's your dream? What's your goal? Do you want to be a professional quarterback coach? Because it sounds like you got what it takes.
Yeah.
Or you want to work with the younger athletes. I mean, what do you want to do with this?
So it's interesting you said that. Now we have 5 years old to
So you have more kids now.
Yeah, 5 years old and up, right?
How many kids are you coaching right now?
It's a ton. Like regulars, about 20 something kids.
Holy cow!
Other than that, kids are popping in, popping out, and we're getting new kids every day. It's kind of at this point, it's kind of tough to get in the program just because it's just me, right? And I kind of want to make sure I can pay attention to everybody and kind of and. A lot of what we do, a lot of people think, because our kids are talented, right? They get really good. Like the kid that got offered as a 12-year-old, with that type of pressure, right? Moving forward, he threw 33 touchdowns as a 14-year-old freshman last year and went to the state championship, right? And so he's prepared, right? There's no secret that what we're doing is working mentally as athletes and as people, as young people. And so, but a lot of people think, because they're talented, we're just doing football, right? And playing quarterback, and we do receivers as well, playing quarterback and playing football in general is so much about how you think about yourself, how you treat other people, how you motivate yourself, right? Because as much as, everybody wants to think it's flowers and roses, you go to college or even in high school at this point, people aren't motivating you. You need to motivate yourself, right? They're actually trying to tear you down to see what you got, right, when the fire gets hot, right? And so you need to find a way to motivate yourself, and we've been able to do that with our 5-year-old is amazing, right? And you think a lot of people, like when I tell them, hey, we got a 5-year-old, 8-year-old, whatever, like, oh, okay, 5-year-old, 8-year-old, and then they see them do their stuff, and they're like, oh, you have a 5-year-old, 8-year-old, wow. Right? And so they're very talented, but I think it has a lot less to do with their physical gifts and a lot more to do with how they're wired and how their mind has been transformed and transmogrified while we've been training, right? Because I put them to the fire. I'll put them to the fire, the 5-year-old, just like I'll put the 18-year-old to the fire. And they work together. They help each other. They get in trouble for not speaking up for themselves, right? Things like that. They get in trouble for not helping others, right? They don't get in trouble for making bad throws, right? That's something we can help and fix, right? We need to make sure that as a person, when everything else is in line, now we can move forward with these throws and making sure we're talented. And it's one of the greatest decisions best job I ever had. The only job.
Are you making money from this yet?
Some money, right? Not getting rich about it. It's just,
this is still a passion play.
It's a lot of passion play. I work for Fox Sports as well, right? So that's helping a lot.
Okay.
Right?
What do you do for Fox Sports?
I do commentary for sports if they were ever returned,
right.
And I have a show, a podcast, which one day maybe you can come on.
I'd be honored. Podcast is called Forward Progress.
Yes, it is.
You've had 2 episodes.
Yeah, 2 episodes so far.
Short little episodes.
Yeah.
Soon. What's the vision for the podcast?
Just tackling different issues, talking sports, and I try to do like community leaders in the city and people that have ties to the state of Michigan, right? Because I think that people want to hear about how they've got through their I call it a turn back moment in every episode, where what point in your life, right? Because everybody has it, right? My turn back moment, you could say that meeting where they say, hey, you're going to be a second string quarterback, essentially, in so many words, right? Do I quit, right? Do I turn back and assure that it will never happen for me, or do I continue to push forward? And obviously I continue to push forward, but yeah, and hearing like the different turn back moments and when they happen for different people. My last guest were the Sklar brothers, who
I saw that. Very funny.
9 years ago, they were the Sklar brothers, right? They were already, they've been on movies, all these different things, and they had their turn back moment 9 years ago when they had already become what they wanted to become. They almost hung it up and said, hey, I'm not going to do this anymore because of a situation where it was a part tailor-made for them. They didn't get it, and they signed someone else, and they're like, well, maybe this isn't for us, if you know what I mean? And for 2 successful people who've made a unique living, with what they have, and they're much different than any other twins out there, right? They're not trying to be the same, right? They're very different. They play off each other very well. For them who had already become successful and taking care of their families, and to sit down with each other and say, hey, maybe this isn't for us, right, is insane, right? Because you always think that turn back moment is that beginning, right? When it's so hard because it's just the beginning, right? You can't really, right? You start in your house as a law firm, and you're trying to get forward, and it's just like your forward progress has really been halted, and then you stop, right? But think about your forward progress right now, what it is right now. I've seen the giant building that we're in right now. What if you say, I don't want to do this anymore, right? That's essentially on a different scale how they were. And obviously, they chose to continue forward and
funny dudes. Check out Forward Progress. And I was going to go right to what your thoughts are about the current college season. But before I get there, I'm stuck on the fact that you're this world-class athlete, watching Denard Robinson run around the field like
All
a
around the
maniac.
field.
And were you good enough to transfer to another school and start at another school?
Without question.
Okay, I assume so, but again, I'm not an expert at college sports. So you could have said, "Screw you, Michigan. I'm going to." I mean, a major university would have loved to have had you.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah.
And you said, "You know what? I'm going to stick it out. Even if I don't play, I'm going to help the team any way I can. I'm going to improve myself. I'm going to get all life's lessons," which is what you did, and it paid off in the Nebraska game, in the Minnesota game, and you're thrilled with how it all went.
Yeah,
it sounds.
Yeah, I'll do it over again for sure.
Same thing. You would have gone back to Michigan. You would have done everything. You would have volunteered to be a receiver. The whole thing. The whole 9 yards.
I mean, so a lot of kids today, and this is why you get so many chances, they're choosing schools for the wrong reason. I didn't choose the school for the coach. I mean, I like the coach. I thought it was a good offense. All this. I chose a school for what it represented and what it could be for me moving forward. Right. So I'm a talented football player. I can be a talented football player anywhere, I thought. Right. And arrogant, maybe. I don't know. But I thought that I could be a talented football player anywhere. But I chose a school because of the opportunities that could present themselves post playing football. Right. You have to live and be a person on this planet a lot longer than you'll get a chance to play football unless your name's Tom Brady. Right. Obviously, if you're Tom Brady, you can play forever. Right. But us normal humans don't get a chance to play that long. And I knew even as a young kid, and I had a lot of help from Coach Greg Carter, who kind of laid it out for me. And made sure that, he didn't steer me in any direction, but he just gave me the realistic what I was up against. And yeah, I do it all over again. And yeah.
Difference between playing for Brady Hoke and Rich Rod. How do you sum that up?
I love Coach Rod. Coach Rod was amazing. He loved his quarterbacks. I'll tell you that. He loved his quarterbacks. And then Coach Hoke was more of a defensive guy, So, I mean.
No inside scoop? Did you like one over the other?
Oh, yeah. I love Coach Rod way more, yeah. Absolutely.
Okay. And how do you think Harbaugh's doing with the team?
We haven't won the big one like everybody had hoped. Hadn't got the greatest quarterback play like everybody had hoped. But if you look at what he's doing a great job, right? He's winning a lot of games, right, with subpar quarterback play. And so
why isn't he bringing you in to help his quarterbacks? You got a great record.
Coach Harbaugh, I don't know if I could. I am 4-0 right now.
Would you do that? Would you go to a college? What's your dream?
I don't know. I think I'm living my dream right now. I think, right, because when I went to college initially, I wanted to do broadcast, right? I wanted to be the guy on TV talking about football when I'm done playing football.
When did you feel that you wanted that?
That's what I wanted to do from the start, right? That's what I wanted to study.
You knew that was the end game.
That's what I wanted to do, right?
Okay.
I had braces for 4 years. We're gonna get a return on this investment.
That smile.
You know what I mean?
You got a nice smile.
Yeah,
you got nice
I appreciate
teeth.
it.
Yeah.
And so some things transpired where I wasn't able to take those classes because they interfered with football practice while I was competing to play.
The communication classes.
Yeah, didn't get a chance to take the classes that I needed, because I'm a student athlete, but football practice is a little more important than, getting the class, you know what I mean? So I didn't get a chance to do that. But in spite of all of that, I'm still getting a chance to do it. And I think it's because I've kind of continued my forward progress, right? That's why I named the show what I named it, right? I don't let things, stop me from continuing to fight and move forward, no matter how devastating. And so I think that's why I've been able to be, the success that I've made. I mean, I'm not the most successful person on the planet, but I think I've done well for myself with what I've done.
It's an amazing story, Devin. We're in a time right now where they literally, within the last 24, 36 hours, decided that the college football was in our area is not going to go forward.
Yeah.
I read some stories this morning how upset the players are. They literally just found out. They're practicing all summer. They're ready to go. All the ideas of how this affects their future. It affects. Everybody in the world is affected by this horrible virus. But do you think they made the right decision by suspending play?
I can't say that. I can't say they do, just because of take the players out for just 1 second. Obviously, we're going to talk about the players and how they're suffering, but what about the people that work in those stadiums? These are 100,000, 110,000 seat stadiums, and those people will not have jobs during the time that they expected to have jobs, right? And so those people have families, and sacrifices will have to be made, and loans will have to be taken out, and debt will be accumulate. I mean, a lot of different things are going to transpire. Not to mention those mom and pop shops that during football season make a killing, and that's how they fund the rest of their year, right? A lot of that stuff is taken away, and I mean, I feel like I think there had to be a better way, right, to try to find and I don't think they left no stone unturned in trying to find a way to make it happen.
Well, it sounds like Coach Harbaugh, the practices are safe. They want to play without fans.
They have 0 positive tests. 0 positive tests after, I think they initially had a few, and then that went down. And as they've been at practice, they have fewer. It
seems like they should be able to test them every day.
Whatever they're doing is working just fine, right? And Michigan's not the only program, right? Illinois, I saw that they got the same type of model. And I haven't heard what Ohio State's model is, but I guarantee you they're doing it right? Because they want to win and they want to play. They don't want to let a year go to waste and not participate in football. So I think that the economy is going to suffer. And then let's talk about the players. The players have worked so hard, and this is not like we've worked hard for this summer. We've worked our entire lives
for this,
right? So think about I'm gonna give 2 examples, right? One is gonna be a lower level, one to be on a grander scale. The first example I want to give is maybe he's a sophomore, got hurt as a sophomore, maybe a talented player. Junior year doesn't quite figure it out. Senior year is going to be his year to figure it out and get at least a chance to play at the next level, right? The thing he worked for his entire life. He doesn't get a senior season. And so now there's no chance of him, right? And so now he has to, on the fly, think of a new plan, right? And as much as everybody wants to say he should have had a plan, school, I just told a story of how I didn't get a chance to take communication classes because they interfere with football practice, right? So you can't expect these young kids who have worked so hard for one goal. I don't know, maybe some people haven't worked so hard for something, right? But they've worked so hard for a goal and then it's stripped away without even opportunity, right? That's one example, right? Because so many lives have been changed up by the guy that got a chance to play that senior season. And maybe he wasn't a first rounder, but he got a chance to get his foot in the door and he made a career out of it for 15 years. And now his family is set for life, and he's bought businesses and he's changed a generation for his family. That has happened so many times, and now on a grand scale in this year, there's going to be that opportunity is not going to present itself. Now, a grander scale, Joe Burrow, and it's so funny. I talked about this a few weeks ago, and he tweeted it out himself, I think a day ago or 2 days ago. If this happens 365 days ago today, Joe Burrow's life is totally different, and he's looking for a job. As a junior, right? Okay, player, right? Nobody's talking about him, right? 6th round, 5th round, maybe, right? You might get a shot, or maybe undrafted free agent. Comes in, plays his senior season, plays amazing, lights out. He's a #1 pick in the NFL draft, and I don't know what the guaranteed money was, but I'm telling you it's a lot. But the signing bonus I think was like something upwards of $30 million. Wow. 365 days. 300. If this happens,
all that's gone.
If this happens a year sooner, Joe Burrow is
done
interning here. Maybe not. I don't know. Right? But
if he's lucky.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
He'll teach me how to throw.
I don't know if you got $30 million signing bonus for him, though.
I mean, not usually, but
right? And so,
for the right guy.
Yeah, and as an athlete and as a football player, you're going to be fine, right? You've learned all the things you've learned of working hard and all these things. So Joe Burrow will probably be fine going forward. But his life has changed forever. He doesn't have to throw a single pass, and he will be fine. He can go buy a vineyard or do whatever he wants to do, and his family will be fine, right? 360. If this happens 1 year earlier, that is not the case for Joe Burrow, and that's the big scale, right? Where he's the #1 pick, and all things are perfect, and he goes and does that. But the smaller scale is the one I'm thinking about, where you get so many guys who need that senior season to perform as well as they can perform and get their foot in the door, and they're a hard enough worker that they get a chance to make a career out of it. 4 years, 5 years, 12 years, however many years, and that's been stripped away.
Totally devastating, sad for the fans, for the players, for everybody.
Yeah.
Well, Devin Gardner, we're out of time. You are a fascinating guy. I love what you're doing with these kids. I love that you're instilling in them all of the life lessons that you've learned up to this point. It sounds like it's 10% about football and 90% about life lessons.
Maybe 95.
And these kids are lucky to have you, and I think our community is lucky to have you. So I subscribed to your Instagram today, your Facebook, to your podcast. I encourage everybody listening to do so. Devin Gardner's, you're on Twitter. Find you. We'll link all your stuff to our show notes, and we appreciate you coming on Open Mic today.
Thanks for having me. It's been fun.
My pleasure. Thanks for watching another episode of Open Mic with Devin Gardner. I learned a ton about football, things I had no clue on, and I thought it was really fascinating. If you like this, send this episode to your University of Michigan football fan or any sports fans you know. Subscribe to our channel, like it, comment, go over to Devin Gardner stuff, follow him, support him, because he's doing some great things for the kids here in Detroit. Thank you.